For inner peace and happiness is the first one. The second from the back is the Shatasampatti. Shatasampatti means the 6 treasures, the 6 steps. So in the second step, there are 6 steps. In Sanskrit, it is known as Sam. Sam means always living in rest and relaxation. Are you relaxed all the time? It helps you to raise your level of awareness. You have the biggest problem. You remain in rest and relaxation. Dham, another treasure, the second treasure. The second treasure, it says, withdraw the mind within whenever you have a problem. What happens majority of the time when we look at the car and, oh yeah, I must have it. Look at the clothes, I must have it. What do? Withdraw the mind inside. Withdrawing the mind inside, Tanya, means that you do not take the car inside. Car remains outside. So it is an art. It is a practice. There are hundreds of practices. Some dham. And then we have the third one. Third one is known as titiksha. Titiksha means that there are desires, there are past impressions that does not go easily, that pulls your mind outside. You may have a past history of distress and anxiety, your mind will return again. I have one student in India who calls me almost 3 days a week for a conference calling, Acharya, I move again into the same anxiety. I said, why you are accepting that? So when the mind moves into these problems and the suffering, again and again we have to apply the very strong approach. We have to be very tough. Sometimes we are tough with our children. We are tough with our employees. Sometimes we are tough in the store also. So can we be tough with our cravings, or those issues which causes the problem? You had something, you talked and there was a verbal argument with me, for example, and then you start driving the car. You're still arguing with me, mentally. You go home. You're sleeping. You're still arguing with me. That nature has to change in order to discover the inner peace and the happiness. I've seen people keeping those impressions for years together. How they can change? So that is the third. Sam, dham. For those impressions, we have to apply 3-pronged approach. Dissolve, either drop it, dissolve it, and destroy it. We have to be very tough in destroying those impressions which causes us the stress, problem, suffering. So, sam, dham, titiksha, uparati. Uparati in Sanskrit means withdraw yourself completely. Self-withdrawal. It helps in relationship greatly for your sake. Somebody said something, you withdraw completely as if you haven't heard it. It is not. You're always happy. You simply withdraw yourself. Uparati. The last two, for we have talked, the last two. One is known as the samadhana. Samadhana means you solve the issues, the problems of your anxiety, your stress. You make a list. What problem I have? What problem I have in relationship? What problem I have at the material level? And you start solving those problems with reference to the mind so that the mind can move into peace and happiness. There are 6. And the 6th, I want to tell you the name of that: Vivek, Vairagya, Uparati, Titiksha, and Shraddha. Very interesting. Shraddha means faith. Faith on whom? Teacher? Not too much required. Much more than that, faith in yourself is required. If I make a statement from, will you believe from today that peace is your essential nature? Happiness is your essential nature? Generally, this concept has been mistranslated. You must have a faith in the teacher. And if the teacher is crazy, where you'll end up? What will happen to you? Yeah, Tanya. You're moving towards spirituality and the teacher is crazy. What will happen to you? He'll make you crazy. Faith on?
Rely on yourself.
But faith in a specific way. Just say, you have anxiety and you say, peace is my essential nature. Do not rely on the mind at default. Because that mind will move into the stress and anxiety and the problem. That will create a lot of issues. So there is a way, there is a specific way that how we move it. So that comes under the second category. We'll talk a little more about it. And from the back, the third means we say vairagya, going within and living within. You have a storm outside, you close the door, you live inside. You did not fight with the storm. You did not fight with the storm and you are happy. What we do with the stress, anxiety, problem, suffering, we start fighting with it. You see the art. That is where the spiritual journey belongs to. And the first is obviously is the discrimination between the real and the unreal. Now coming to the again back to the desire, and then we'll start the practice. Desire. Should I crush the desire? No. Understand it. Understand it. I always make 3 statements, and today is a little deeper explanation. You must remember this all the time. With reference to any action, any work in your life, and you will discover the life becomes easier. First, whatever we want in our life, we don't get it. Whatever you want in life. Couple of things we get it, Catherine, but not all. So what I want in my life, I don't get it. What happens? Cause of this stress, suffering, problem. Find out in your life. See the other side of it. The moment your mind declares that you have a problem, you have a stress and you have a suffering, the cause is you are wanting something, you are not getting it. Your wanting is in the wrong direction. You have to correct that. So that what you want to get it also drops and the life becomes easy. For example, if I want to be a president of the United States, I start craving. This is an election year, so you can want, you can have, you can want. There are only 2 parties, you can have 3 parties. So, wanting, we will understand, the more you want, you're wanting something, you don't get it. It is the cause of the problem, stress, and the suffering. Now, say for example, I want Heather to trust me, she doesn't, so I have a problem. We do these hundreds of times. At the outset, when I started this workshop and I talked about this women, and I said, how's your honey? Oh, no. And Dory. I'm talking about Dory. Dory. Prerna. Dory, the small one that she used to come to.
Oh.
Dory.
Okay.
And second is, what I get it, I do not accept it. I don't like it. That is the cause of all our ego. Egoism again brings a lot of problems. One of the texts says, Naham tada moksho, you drop your ego, you are already liberated. As long as you move with the ego, there is a bondage and that brings the suffering. Understand the second principle, what I get it, I don't like it. Shouldn't I be happy with you all now? As a teacher, I may be craving, I should have 15 people, 5 people. I conducted a workshop with the 2 people. Last time I conducted a workshop with 12 people. What? Then what? And organized the first workshop. We had a lot of people in the Princeton Center. Just for example. Example. What we get it, we don't accept it. When you do not accept, the mind always moves into the ego. It creates the problem. It creates an issue all the time.
I'm confused.
What I get it, you have a house.
Oh, so
husband.
what you have.
What you have.
What you have.
What you have.
You don't accept. Okay.
You don't
now
accept
I
it.
understand exactly
What you have. So as long as if you do not accept what you have, you cannot make the spiritual journey. Forget about it. You simply cannot make it. I'm not asking that what you have, you should drop it and then you start the journey. No. What you have, do I accept it with a humility, in peace? The life begins from there. The last, what I like in my life, it doesn't remain forever. That is the cause of the ignorance in life. Remember, wanting, not getting it, all the problems, suffering, and the stress comes from there. What you have, you don't like it, you don't accept it. That is the cause of your ego. What you like, it doesn't remain forever. That is the cause of ignorance. So ignorance, ego, problem, and the suffering, they multiply themselves. They multiply themselves thousands of times. And you can pick up these 3 big statements and see the reference point of your problem can easily be discovered, and you can drop it by the first principle, that is discrimination between the real and the unreal. I had a wonderful real story that happened. I'm just giving a counseling to one of the very good women. I just don't want to name her. Sister is in another country, and she had a boyfriend with whom she lived almost for 20 years, but her boyfriend was married. Anyhow, that's a different aspect, but this sister lived with him beautifully. They had a good relationship. Just 3 months ago, he died. She left the job. She is desperate. I want peace. I want calmness. I want peace. She left the job. She is in the nursing profession, and she is terribly disturbed. The moment you ask her, no, just relax. Forget about relaxation. He has died. How can I relax? What I like does not remain forever. Am I aware of that? If I'm aware of that, there are a lot of small things in my life. Hundreds of small things. So it means I have to understand the very nature of my liking. It is not, you do not take for granted what you like and okay. So because what I like, I'm not getting it, and so I have a problem. No. I have to understand the nature of my liking. Whatever the things that I like in my life, ask yourself, does it remain forever? Is it permanent? It is eternal? It is unchanging identity? The life will change. If you do not discriminate, if you do not understand, if you do not want to understand, many people do not want to understand. They create their ego with it. Oh, you have done this to me, so I will do this thing to you. A person like me self-withdraws himself. You do whatever you want to do. I'm very happy. I will remain happy. What you like, it does not remain forever. If this statement is true for all your likings, you're bound to move into ignorance. Ignorance will put you into egoism. These two together create problem, stress, and the suffering. It is your understanding. Put up. Wanting, not getting it. Getting, not liking it. Liking doesn't remain forever. Simple three statement. The entire life can be understood with three statements. You can just awaken yourself. And you can move easily into an awareness. You can instantly move into the rest and relaxation. You can instantly move deeper within. It is very easy to move once you understand it. It means what? I have to consciously want in my life. Conscious wanting. Conscious wanting. Anne is always concerned about me. I found such a beautiful one. She is always concerned. She thinks about me, about my issues, much more than I think about my issues. I have seen that, she gets so concerned, I'm fortunate. But at the same time, I keep my mind, okay, it will also come. It will happen. It will happen. Maintain that peace. I work hard. And somehow or other how it comes. It comes out of the blue. And knows. I'm not going to tell you the name. But it is worthwhile to tell you that I had some... everyone has a financial problem in the recession. So I did have. And out of the blue it came. The lady came. Here is $2,000. You have to give me 10 lessons or 20 lessons. It happens. I have seen not once in my life. I see it every day. Your wanting has to be very clear. Your intent has to be very clear. She gave me and she said, what's your... Yes, I said, my intent is to take you away from the suffering. It does not mean that how many sessions that I give. When I met her, she said yes. This is not at the material level. I'm just asking you at the spiritual level. Wanting and not getting. You have to find out, strike a balance. Wanting and not getting it. Beautiful. And getting it, I have a lot of things in my life. Beautiful things. I left my royal service. We all left the royal service as a diplomat. And I lived my very good life. So let me accept the challenges here. It has only been 5 years for me. Same thing applies to all of us. Let us accept the challenge, but never undermine what we have. I think I have an abundance of love and respect from all the people whom I met, barring one or two. It happens. It has to happen. So find out, always. And the third aspect is liking, it does not remain forever. There the principle of yoga says that it is the real self that is the only thing that remains forever. You seek the real self in every activity, in every moment of life, in every relationship. Catherine, when you look at the Robert, seek the real self in him. Robert, when you look at the Catherine, seek the real self in her, the life becomes easy.
Thank you for saying that.
Well, if the Catherine doesn't look that real self in Robert, then you will have problem. And if he looks, he has no problem. This is just an example.
Mm-hmm.
That is where the journey begins. Remember again the last thing, and then we will start with the practice, where is wanting, not getting it. So whatever you are wanting, you have to prepare a list of what you want in your life. And then one by one find out, is it really worth wanting? You know, especially the Indian costume, oh, my husband doesn't look at me, or my wife doesn't look at me, or my wife looks at somebody else. Then what? I've solved a lot of issues like this. Or maybe that, no, why this guy is staring at me? Am I okay? Think of the constant. It's a long principle. I have to prepare a long list of whatever I want in my life, and I'm not getting it. I have to find out that what I'm wanting is in my hand. Is it conscious way of wanting? Can I change that mode? 50-90% of your problem, stress, and it simply dissolves. That comes from the first principle of Viveka, discrimination between the real and the unreal. Second, having it, not accepting. I don't accept. So the moment that non-acceptance comes from a resistance within you, and that center is nothing but the center of the ego. That creates egoism, that creates a lot of issues in relationship. Relationship not only at, you can say at the level of the spouse or the couple, but in the parents and the teachers' relationship. And knows one more couple who comes from Pennsylvania to me, and his son comes to me for counseling, and he has yet to leave, and his parents called me. You see, Charya, he is not doing good. I said, how long you are going to say that he is not doing good? You appreciate. Do you love him? Do you accept him as your son? Or you have created an image that he is a demon. Yes, he might have done wrong things in the past, but his mind is totally obsessed. And I have seen this for 3 years. Last time he came, I said, this is it. Please do not talk to me. I maybe earning less a week. I said, no, I don't talk to you. You are not allowed to talk to me. I see there is a change. I see there is an improvement. The students, his colleagues are saying, his friends are saying there is a tremendous change, but you do not want to accept it because of your ego. You have to drop it. The moment even if you accept a right thing in a wrong person, the person starts changing. But you don't want. So better don't pay me. I told him openly, please do not pay me from now. I'm not interested. I will not take you a single penny. But this is too much. Can we take such tough decisions at the mental level where mind becomes clear? One has to take oneself within. Never display that, yes, I have taken this decision. You see that I have taken so much of care of you. I have agreed with you, and you are not changing. This is another side of the ego. Don't do that. especially in relationship. The moment you do it, you'll be in trouble. Don't do that. And the third is, liking it doesn't remain forever. You have to discriminate. There are many things that you like, but that does not remain. So all the three, contemplation of all the three levels, what will happen? Ultimately, it takes you to one principle, the self within me, which is of the nature of peace and happiness. And let me continue my journey of peace and happiness within. Let us lie down again. Another practice for Prati Prasa, which I call lie down on the back, and let us start with the practice. I'll send you this practice by email to you all as a
This one?
this one.
This one coming up?
Yeah, this one coming up.
Okay.
So that will help you